Have you ever wondered where the term Yankee came from or what it has to do with the coin? Well, stay tuned because I'm going to share with you the history of the word Yankee and what part it plays in the development of the Maine Centennial half dollar. Now, I'm sure just about every one of you has heard this term before, Yankee. But what does it mean? Well, a great many things. See, if you're from the great state of New York, then a Yankee is a baseball player. If you're from the UK or maybe Australia, a Yankee or a Yank is someone from America. Others find great offense in both the delivery and receipt of the term Yankee. In the United States, North America, we say Yankee in the reference of inhabitants to states like New Hampshire, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Vermont, Massachusetts, and Maine. Now, my story is going to reside with these last two states in the list, Massachusetts and Maine. Did you know that the first settlement was established by the Plymouth colony at Popham in 1607? Now, that was the same year as the settlement at Jamestown. But because the Popham colony didn't survive the very harsh northern winter, Jamestown is what we get to know as America's first settlement. But Massachusetts and Maine entered the 18th century, and only about a half a dozen settlements were still in existence. By then, Massachusetts had pretty much taken up all the land and would do so until the year 1820. Now, in 1820, Maine would separate from Massachusetts in something that we know as the Missouri Compromise. During James Monroe's presidency, many states were being added to the Union, causing rifts in the nation over expansion of slavery in the new territories, and this led Monroe to the Compromise of 1820. Now, this banned slavery anywhere north or west of the Missouri River, dividing America into a free and a slave series of states. Did you catch the coin on the thumbnail? Well, that coin was James Monroe, who in 1823 also created the Monroe Doctrine. This was a defining moment in American foreign policy and later invoked by two great leaders, Theodore Roosevelt and John F. Kennedy. In 1861, the Civil War would begin, and Maine entered the Civil War with a population smaller than most states, but it answered the call with a higher proportion of any other men in the Union. Lincoln called for 75,000 volunteers. Maine immediately began raising regiments of infantry, cavalry, and batteries of artillery. Now, this was strictly volunteer, but Maine had raised 32 regiments of infantry, 2 regiments of cavalry, and 8 batteries of artillery, serving both the Army and the Navy. Maine saw action in every battle with the Army of Potomac and the first Bull Run to Appomattox. During the Civil War, the term Yankee was used by Southerners to describe the rivals from the Union, or the Northerner, often with great derogatory sentiment. But the Yankee didn't stay that way for long. Not only did Maine represent a significant force in the Civil War, it produced some great men. For instance, John F. Kennedy from Massachusetts, Maine, Calvin Coolidge from the Vermont area, and George W. Bush, who is from Massachusetts and Maine as well, are considered some cultural Yankees of impact. But there is one more derivative of the term Yankee that is known by all ages, young and old, and that is the famous Yankee Doodle. Remember that one? Yeah. Yankee Doodle, keep it up, Yankee Doodle dandy. Mind the music and the steppin' with the girls be handy. Yeah, well, eventually that song became the state anthem of Connecticut. But unofficially, I bet you didn't know this, it was the first unofficial anthem of the United States. It was actually sung at Fort McHenry when Francis Scott Key was writing the Star-Spangled Banner. So the term Yankee and Maine have had significant impact on our nation, and most certainly worthy of the celebration of a coin. The Maine Centennial half dollar was developed by Anthony DeFrancisi, the creator of the famed peace dollar, and it was intended to celebrate the 100-year anniversary of Maine becoming an independent state. The original sale price, much like many of these collectibles, was $1 per coin. But there's one final fact that you may not know. Keep this in your hat. It'll become important when Tiger and I do something called Stack Collector. If you haven't heard about it, stay tuned. Did you know that the delivery of the coins were not received until after the celebration? All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, thank you for enjoying me on this journey. But don't go anywhere because next week I have an amazing tale of one of my favorite coins to bear a ship. You want a clue? If April showers bring May flowers, what do May flowers bring? I hope you enjoyed this. Please consider subscribing. And while you're here, check out one of these two videos. YouTube thinks that you might also enjoy these. Folks, I will see you next week.